ADA waking up from its slumber. Nice little nap that it's been in. ADA right now up around 10% on the pretty short term. I think it's warranted to do a video here, and I wanted to give an update of targets for ADA, what to look out for. We are right now approaching the very stubborn area that we've been tracking for. It feels like a very long time. So this is a 6-hour chart. I'm going to dig into it with you to discuss if there's immediate resistance, what to look for on the downside. But I really want to go back and go to the weekly chart. And just want to show you real quick. This is a move back in 2019, back here. This is the bottom of the bear market. This is ADA cruising through the 20-week moving average up to the 50-week moving average and even slightly above the 50-week moving average. This is the move. I mean, we've been comparing the 2019 move of Bitcoin out of the bear market, and we're kind of going to start looking at this move for ADA. We want to see something similar. So if we go and we look at the current weekly chart, and keep in mind this 20-week moving average being broken and the 50-week moving average being approached by ADA back then out of that bear market, here's where we are this time around. So the 20-week moving average, as you know, if you've been watching my technical analysis videos on ADA, it's been the most solid wall of resistance the entire bear market. It's the picture of ADA just losing. The bulls just losing over and over with these macro lower highs, right? Now, most recently, we broke above it, and we've been trading very nicely above it. Even right now, the weekly candle above the 20-week moving average. It's what we want to see. But now it's time. We want to start seeing that real, just huge indicator, which is the convergence of the moving averages coming together for the pivot from bear market to bull market. What does that is really ADA price kind of gravitating towards these upper moving averages. The 50-week moving average right around 45 cents, the 200-week moving average all the way up here around 61, 62 cents. So we want to see ADA close in on these moving averages, at the very least the 50-week, right now around 45 cents. That's a very similar move to 2019. So let's talk about what could make this so. And if we go and we start digging into the charts, we start getting an idea. And before we do, I want to just lay some important, I think, fundamental context to what I'm going to talk about right now. I tweeted the other day, I said ADA is sleeping because it was. The price was sleeping, but Cardano is very much awake. Total value locked, going parabolic. So you can see total value locked on the rise, right? And somebody commented and they said, unfortunately, total value locked doesn't equate to price increases. And I said, not in the short term, but it's a reflection of blockchain growth, which I think will ultimately reflect in ADA price. This is a game of patience, just like every other cycle. Now, I want to say, when I say that, I'm not just talking about short-term moves, right? I'm not just saying, hey, TVL, it's starting to appear. We're starting to see the effects of the blockchain growing right here in this daily candle. I'm really looking at the macro. If we go to the ADA chart on the zoomed out, it's the macro. When we start looking at TVL data and the blockchain itself growing in such a fundamental fashion, it's this chart. It's all of this time that lies ahead, and we're talking years and years, that gets me bullish. And I think ADA price will eventually reflect that TVL. Now, what spurs that? Well, it's obviously huge pivots out of bear markets, right? It's a really big deal. The last cycle was reserved for ADA to build. We have Shelley, Mary Hard Fork, Alonzo, and smart contracts, scalability coming into play in this recent bear market. And that's all happening now. So I want to just lay that context as we go to the daily chart and really start trying to observe, well, what's it doing in the shorter term? And this is what it's doing, everybody. This resistance has been engraved on this chart, on the shaded chart, for some time now. And if you know what I'm talking about, it is the swing high back here in November to the swing low. And it's this area we've been tracking to see if ADA can break above, and it failed. It has failed. On this daily chart, we had the nice run up from the bear market low, almost breaking and getting separation above and out of that area, but truly just failing. And this move, if you look at this, I mean, when it was kind of starting to test it, this was January, right? So all this resistance and then falling, and now we're in March. This is a multi-month resistance, and ADA right now, as I do this video, is right back in that resistance area. I really want to note something. If you look at this Fibonacci channel, the resistance is 39 to 40 cents at the 786, and at the 618, right around 36 cents. What I want to show you, though, is this, and this is what I'm watching. If you look at the current area as it enters this channel right down here, you can see confluent with the area, and it's right around 36 cents. We have the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, like right there. So ADA, as I do this video on the daily, breaking above all three resistances, meaning the lower end of the Fibonacci resistance and these two moving averages. Huge resistance at 36 cents. Big deal that ADA is breaking above it. And that's the biggest thing I'm watching right now on this chart, namely with around 3.5 hours as I record this video, 3.5 hours left on this ADA candle on the daily. Can ADA close above it? Currently, from a price range perspective, it's around 2.5% above that resistance area. So really want to see more separation from those areas. But at the end of the day, everybody, what we really want to see is ADA explode through the entire Fibonacci resistance channel. And let's talk about why that's such a big deal. And this is where we're going to start looking at really solid, strong upside targets for ADA to absolutely kind of go a little crazy to the upside for a change. So what this looks like is at the upper end of the resistance, once again, is kind of this, it's sort of a neckline area, right? You kind of see this right here, this dark green line, ADA kind of seeing this setup potentially in play of an inverse head and shoulders happening, right? So at the upper end of this Fibonacci resistance, upper channel, is really this 40-cent region that we've really identified as resistance. And confluent with that is kind of this trend line. So if ADA can get up to that area, that's it. That's breaking through the resistance area. And can it escape? Really, can it escape all of that resistance and continue to the upside? Want to just show you two really bullish targets for ADA. And I don't say this to offer any hopium. This is just technical data. And it's on the chart, and we see these things play out time and time again. This is a longer term pattern. Both patterns are, but the setups are there. And what we're looking at is really this falling wedge that ADA has broken out of, and this was all the way back in January. We get this nice little dip after the breakout, continuing to the upside. The target, as you know, I've mentioned before, right around 55 cents. That's a big deal because we go to the weekly chart. Let's clean this up a little bit. What's up there, right? If we look, the 50-week moving average right around 44 cents. So if ADA is breaking to the 55-cent target on that daily chart, it means it's breaking through the 50-week moving average and upwards towards the 200-week moving average. Now, that's a really big deal on this chart because as we started the video, we said this is the move we're looking for. ADA to break to the 50-week moving average and above the 50-week moving average. Now, it's just 100% in play. That doesn't come without volatility. That doesn't come without swings to the downside, right? And you can kind of get a sense of what that might look like on the 6 hour. We're going to look at what those swings to the downside could look like, what higher low support areas would look like. But on the daily chart, a really nice move of continuation for ADA if it's going to continue this escape out of the bear market. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to just discuss the very fact that we just looked at this potential inverse head and shoulder setup. I'm just going to throw it out there. The target to the upside, right around 70 cents to the upside, if that's going to happen. What that would look like, it's a longer term play. This could look like a breakout upwards, right? Maybe to the 55-cent target. We get pulled back to the neckline. Big dip, huge dip for ADA. Sideways, maybe even falling below, and then up to, and that's the target to 70-cent target. So this is kind of could be a multi-month move, but I just want to put that target out there because it's there, and it makes sense as we pivot from bear to bull. And it makes sense with currently what could be on the horizon for crypto as a whole, meaning just kind of more adoption, more people getting into the space. And yes, it really is possibly happening right now with everything going on in the world, and it just makes sense. And I'm not going to get into that because we've been talking about that a lot in my Bitcoin videos, but these are the bullish cases for ADA. To the downside, I want to discuss if ADA starts retracing, right? We have this obvious trend that is in play on the 6 hour, higher lows right here. The first area of support I'd be watching is currently this lower trend line. So it's the previous swing low to right now the swing high. And we can kind of plot that out, and it's right around, it's confluent higher low support area. It's right around 34.5 cents down to 34 cents. That's a support area in the very short term for a short term, very volatile throwback to the downside, like one of these, right? Now, a bigger throwback area would be just kind of a more midterm Fibonacci retracement. So it's the swing low back here, March 10th, around 11 days ago, to the current swing high. If all of this acts as resistance, this huge resistance that we just discussed, and ADA gets thrown back down, we're looking at a very big dip down to around 33 cents, 31 cents. That's a price range wise from where it is right now, at least. It's like up to a 15% dip for ADA. That could be this big consolidation for ADA just to take another breather before trying another shot at breaking through this huge resistance. But this resistance area being broken and ADA separating from it, a very big bullish confirmation in my view. I'm waiting for it. We're tracking it. And that's all we can do, everybody, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what these markets are going to deliver. Didn't even mention, we're going to get the interest rate hikes decision tomorrow. What are they going to be doing? How are markets going to be reacting to it? A lot of that will probably play out on this ADA chart. We have all our targets. We have our confirmation areas, and we know what is in store one way or another. So everybody, I appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.